This week in our collective heads, wanna put an old rumor to bed. Stereotype that you've all heard, how we're all just angry video game nerds. Most of us have actual jobs, kids and families and cats and dogs, yeah. This week in our collective heads, this week in our collective heads.
Welcome to This Week in Our Collective Heads. I'm Kevin, and Patrick is joined by me because I've been absent for the past couple of weeks due to various life things happening. But I am back now, and I'm really excited because we really haven't gotten to talk since E3 about all the stuff that happened. So,
no, we haven't.
I'm still kind of riding that excitement wave.
Yeah,
I enjoy that.
I'm mostly riding the excitement wave. There are a few things that I'm really excited about, and there's a lot of things that I couldn't care less about, and I could continue to ramble about. So I'm gonna put those aside for now because I'll ramble later. Let's talk.
Well, let's go ahead and kick it off with the backwards compatible games from Xbox. We have Major Nelson. He tweets these out, and they don't get a lot of attention, but we really appreciate that they're continuing to work to push these out, all these backwards compatible games, because it's a really cool initiative.
It really is.
So this week we have Sensible World of Soccer, which
sounds like the lamest. I mean, I'm not a soccer fan. I'm not going to begrudge the game of soccer or anything. But when people talk about soccer being boring, you'd think that they shouldn't call the game the Sensible World of Soccer. It should be something a little more exciting.
Okay, if I'm not mistaken, Sensible World of Soccer is like you work as a manager, managing a football team. You're not even playing.
Jeez.
Yeah, that is past my level of dedication on soccer. The beautiful game and everything, but no.
Yeah, no good. We also got a Grid Autosport, which more racing. I do find it fun every time that I have to put one of these up. I have to search like crazy to find anything. For any racing game, I have to search like crazy to find anything that resembles gameplay footage, because usually it's just a bunch of close-ups of the glistening cars. And this is similar. We also got Fable Heroes, which I did not play.
That was kind of an offshoot one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's not
like
part of the
something completely different.
Correct. This does add multiplayer, but it's within the world of Fable, but it is not Fable proper.
Right.
The gameplay is completely different. The lore is, I guess, kind of there if you want to call lore like Fable. Does Fable? Let's be honest. Fable doesn't have that much lore.
No, it's Fable is about your story, and a multiplayer mode misses the point of Fable.
Yeah. Might as well just make it a MOBA.
Right.
Yeah.
But we do have more positive news. We have the Games with Gold and the PlayStation Plus games for this month.
Yeah.
On Games with Gold, we have Assault Android Cactus, which honestly looks like a lot of fun.
It looks like a lot of fun.
Twin stick shootery.
Yeah. I bet you wish you could play this.
Well, it's out on Vita and PS4. So
if I
grab it there.
You could. Yeah, that's true. We also got Death Squared, which I'm looking forward to because it looks like an interesting puzzle game. I don't know if it's going to have enough replayability in regards to the puzzles. Some of these get really monotonous, even if you like puzzle games. So I'm curious to see how they take that and what direction to take this in.
One thing that is encouraging to me is even in the little bit of footage we've seen, is there seems to be some physics-based puzzling. Yeah. And I really like that.
Yeah, I do too. I love physics-based puzzles because a lot of that gets very intuitive. I mean, you don't really have to worry. Some people have trouble with the more logistic ones where you're planning like 3 or 4 moves ahead, which is completely understandable. But I think that the physics-based puzzles are easier for everyone to comprehend because we all live in a world that has physics. So I think that it really is easier to grasp those concepts and play it without having to pour too much time into understanding the minutia. So it's good.
So we'll see which one this is.
Yeah.
So on the 360, we also got Splinter Cell Conviction and Virtua Fighter 5.
Yeah.
It's when I think of Virtua Fighter, I think of like back in the arcades, like Virtua Fighter 2.
Same here. That's my jam. That was when everybody else was talking about Tekken. Like I was playing Virtua Fighter because I know like we outage some gamers nowadays. We're not like the old men or anything, but in elementary school I would go to the arcade, like an actual arcade.
Yeah.
And they had Mortal Kombat and a bunch of other games. And when they got Virtua Fighter, it just blew everybody's mind because you could sidestep and backstep and front step, and it would rotate the camera, and it threw everyone off because you were used to playing on that 2D plane.
Well, and like it's a different kind of risk reward system when somebody can do more than just block, where an out of place attack can really put you in danger of being countered.
Exactly.
And that was just a really interesting system that they did very, very well.
Very, very well, yeah. And I haven't played this one, so I look forward to playing it. I like fighters more than I like racing games, even if I'm not very good at them.
Hey, look at that! You don't have to play any racing games this month.
Do I not? No, I don't.
No, none.
It's been so long. Oh, it's been so long. But I cannot wait for this because Heavy Rain for PlayStation Plus. Heavy Rain is on, and this is the PS4 version. So you didn't get to play Heavy Rain, did you?
I did not.
So I'm really glad you get to play this.
Know some things, but I haven't had like the entire story spoiled. So I'm really looking forward to going through my journey and coming back to people who played this game years ago and be like, oh, this was really good. And they're like, we know. We played it a decade ago.
I really encourage, like, if you've not played Heavy Rain, I do encourage you to get in at least 2 hours or so. But, because you need like, I'd say at least 2 hours where I feel like the story opens up, because the first, I don't know, it depends on how you play it, but the first bit is very tutorial. I'm sure you've seen that.
I played for like 20 minutes or something, and I got dressed, I took a shower, and I walked around the table or something. Like I wasn't quite engaged yet. Yeah,
that's your tutorial, and then that's what I meant. You need to kind of get in there a little bit, because this is the gameplay in this game is very different than what people were used to. Now we have Telltale and other games that are changing, and in my opinion, Telltale kind of took a lot from this. More quick time but the idea of, oh, you want to do this, okay, you need to go like up and to the left, or however your motion is, but in my opinion, it's one of my favorite games in regards to storytelling, and it does have branching stories where I think there's only a few places you can actually fail and die, but for the most part, you messing up doesn't screw up the story. Your story continues.
And that's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to. Just feeling that kind of tension of, okay, if I mess this up, I don't get to just reload my last save.
Yes.
So I like the idea of permanent consequences.
Yeah, permanent consequences.
So I'm really looking forward to this one. Yeah. But moving on, we have Absolver, which is from Devolver Digital, and it is one of the strangest fighting games I've ever seen, and I'm excited about playing it.
Yeah. Isn't this online?
Yes. Yeah. This is like it's like 3D wandering around and a fighter.
Gotcha.
And multiplayer. So it's just a whole bunch of ideas kind of crammed together that I've never seen crammed together in that particular arrangement before. So
that'd be cool.
I'm excited.
Like Kung Fu. I do like Kung Fu, so it'll be cool. We got Rayman 3 as well, which I can't even remember how many Rayman games we've been given now, and I'm not really complaining. But I think we have, I don't know, 4 on.
But see, Rayman 3 is actually one of the 3D ones, and I prefer the side scrollers.
Yeah, and I prefer the side scrollers as well. In regards to Rayman games, I think they were trying to go very Banjo-Kazooie with this, which is not a bad direction to go in. But just not what they really needed in this case. We also got Deception 4, The Nightmare Princess.
Of course, that old gem that I've never heard of.
Yeah, and this is so Japanese.
Yeah.
Like just in so many different ways, and I may have to fire up the PS3 to try this out because it's just so bonkers.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to. I don't even know. I guess we'll put words into it during the review.
We will indeed.
Yeah. Also, Space Overlords on the Vita.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of a planet management sim.
Mm-hmm.
I think it looks fun.
Yeah,
those can be fun. Then we also have Zero Escape, Zero Time Dilemma, which is I believe it's the fourth of the Nonary games.
I believe so. I can't remember if it's third or fourth. But
yeah, I've played several of them, several hours in, and they are consistently interesting. Yeah. And so I appreciate that this got brought over here. And if I'm not mistaken, this also got remastered for the PS4. So there's a possibility that might be playable on your PS4. We'll have to check on that.
That could be really cool. I think this is the one where they're all captured and that thing forces them to do stuff, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And they're all trying to escape, and there's number puzzles and environmental puzzles, and you're trying to figure out the motives of the people at the same time because you've just been thrown in here with 8 other randos, all of whom have interesting personalities, and it's really a delight to play. I like watching it develop.
That sounds very up my alley because I'm not joking. I probably watch 4 or 5 horror movies a week.
Yeah.
So that sounds like something I'd really enjoy.
Which is why I recommended it to you when I bought it on sale a year and a half ago. I absolutely told you to play this.
I forgot.
So next up, we have something that is very exciting, personally up my alley. We're getting a Binding of Isaac card game.
Yes.
Macmillan's been teasing this for a couple of weeks now, and I've just been getting more and more excited. He said, it's related to Isaac. It's something I've never done before, and it's been really fun to hear him describe how he lays all this out. And Kickstarter has gotten a bad rap in a lot of situations, but I feel like the card games consistently deliver, because most of the work for a card game is in coming up with concepts, the play set, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so this one, he already has all that laid out. Like, they've already started play testing it. And so the money that they were looking for, which was initially $50,000, is just basically to get it printed.
Yeah.
And they have soared over the top of that. Last time I checked, they were at over 1,000% funded, and I am so excited about this.
That's amazing. I would absolutely love to be a part of these kind of groups. I know that, and it really sucks because like a friend of mine in Texas is like playtesting a game, and he's possibly like he messaged, he put on Facebook, he's like, hey, is anybody interested in playtesting with me this weekend? And he was going to order like beers and pizza and
that sounds awesome.
I'm like, that sounds great, and I can't because flights aren't that cheap.
Yeah, that's true.
Flights are cheap, but not that cheap.
We for those of you who may not have heard this before, it's not something we talk about a lot, but we're tremendous fans of tabletop gaming, and just all the different creativity that goes into that can be really fascinating. And I'm absolutely going to buy this. I haven't decided on the $60 or the $75 tier.
Yeah.
But I'm absolutely getting this, and next time you're in town.
Yes. Yeah. We have to play it. I'm considering kickstarting it, but I don't know yet. I think I should do it just to support them because I love tabletop gaming, and because it's something interesting, kind of like Exploding Kittens or whatever. I just don't know how the learning curve is going to be on this, because a lot of tabletop games, depending on the tabletop game, some of them have a steeper learning curve, where like Munchkin is like very easy to play with anybody.
I think this will be mostly I think it is considerably more complex than Munchkin, but most of the gameplay happens out in the open, and it's the 4 people that are playing either backstabbing each other or helping each other or things like that. And so a lot of the gameplay and the variance is going to come from how the people around you choose to play. Sure.
I just don't mean like, is the rule set going to be very like more complex like Magic the Gathering, where it turns off people?
Not that intense, but it's basically like you read the card description and you'll know how to use it.
That's okay. I'm okay with that.
So next up we have Overwatch's endorsement side effects. I don't know how well you've been following this one.
I know that you can endorse and cheer for people, but that's all I really know about it.
Okay, this has nothing to do with that. So, the endorsement system is basically at the end of a match, you say if this person was a good communicator. Like you can give kind of basically like props. You were a good teammate and you helped me and you were nice and considerate. And so the idea is people who are nice and considerate will be grouped together with other people who are nice and considerate. And so like you actually climb tiers in politeness, I guess. And there are so few environments as toxic, honestly, as online multiplayer. Like even amongst your own team, like there's a lot of people who yell at people or like just horrible language, and so a lot of people choose not to participate in it.
Yeah, that's why Whitney doesn't play online games. Like it's one of the reasons.
Yeah, especially if you're a woman or have an accent or anything like that. Like if
she's like, I want to have fun. I don't want to deal with that. So
yeah. And so one interesting thing that I hadn't really considered, but I talked to TWIOCH Bad Moon Pie. Mm-hmm. She was saying that what she's seen is that even if people are like faking being nice, it's a heck of a lot better than anything else. And she said that she was encouraged to go back into voice chat where she hadn't been for a very long time. And Overwatch is a game that depends on communication. Yeah. And so I see this as a really positive move by Blizzard to advance and the concept that niceness should be rewarded, and the more we can work together, the more people we can bring on board and have fun.
Yeah, and it is important, and I agree. It especially with women being such a large part of the community, and it's one thing that I absolutely love about going to conventions or playing online is seeing more and more women out and geeking out with us.
Well, go
ahead.
Well, I actually went to a this weekend, and it was interesting how my views have changed, because I went over to take a picture with a Roadhog, and I was like, hey, could I please get a picture with you? She was like, yes. And I was like, may I put my arm around you?
Yeah.
And asking that is not difficult, but it's not something that I used to do. It was just like, oh, we're posing together. And it was really cool to kind of understand, and I could tell that she appreciated it too. Yeah. And so when you're interacting with cosplayers, just ask.
Yeah, exactly.
Just ask, can I do this? What are you comfortable with? And this is kind of the same thing, but for vocals.
Exactly.
So,
and I'll admit I forget to do that. Thankfully, I haven't had any problems. But I sometimes forget to do that because to me, like putting my arm around someone's shoulder, let me put it this way: if they're clothed, then I don't even think about it. I forget about it. If they're not clothed and my hand is going to touch skin for some reason or another,
that was one of the particular reasons I asked, because she had like a kind of a jacket up here, but it was going to be like skin on skin contact.
I do need to be better about asking in general. I think it's because I don't think about it, because I know what I'm about and I know what I'm going to do, but you never know what the other person, if the other person has like social anxiety, or if they're, if they have body dysmorphia or whatever, where they're like, I don't feel comfortable with that. And in that case, don't do the hover hand. Just don't. Just like give like thumbs up, and that's all you need. Don't do the hover hand, because then you just look weird. Ask, and that's it. But I think that I first of all, I'm very, very happy for future nerds and current nerds who are going through like middle school and high school, because not only are their interests out and accepted, but they can find other people who like these things via the internet and conventions and everything. But it's completely acceptable for a woman or a high school girl or whatever to enjoy a said fandom, and then to me, basically, I'm just going to wrap it up by saying we need to nurture this. I mean, there's no
absolutely
the toxic, and to me, I don't want to use the word toxic masculinity. It's just toxicity, really, in general. And understand, this isn't a boys' club. It never was a boys' club. The girls just didn't want to talk about it before. Now that they're talking about it, why would you not want to include them? Like, I don't see any downside to this. They have different. I mean, everything from point of view to maybe you meet someone that you really like. One of my coworkers met his wife playing World of Warcraft.
Yep.
I mean, there's no downside to this, so quit being a dick. I'll just end it with that. I'm glad that more people are being nice.
Speaking of more people and the history of gaming, the NES Classic has returned. It's back in stock at ThinkGeek, Best Buy, and GameStop, I believe.
Exactly. So if you can get one, go get one if that's what you want to do. I mean, if you, even if you're thinking about getting one for a Christmas present for somebody, go ahead and try to grab it now. Grab it whenever if you can find it. I know that Amazon sold out pretty quickly. You can go Amazon UK is still selling them. There's a little bit of an upcharge on that, but I mean, you could.
Well, I do know for a fact that Alex Wooten, the guy who wrote our intro music, he actually got one. He wasn't able to get one last time, and I'm really excited for him.
Very happy. He just walked into a Walmart too, and boom, there you go. I need to check the one here and see if there's one.
There's kind of a rumor that's been floating around, and I feel like it's granted credence.
You're breaking up. What was that? A rumor? What?
There's been a rumor that it has enough credence now that we can go ahead and at least introduce it so that we're completely astonished if it does happen.
Yeah. And the rumor is that Google is going to get into the console market, which I think will be interesting. And I have my own thoughts on the upsides and downsides to it. I want to hear yours first because I've got my own ideas, but I kind of want to hear what you're thinking.
Yeah. One of my main things is that I really don't want, like we talk a lot about market management and stuff, and like how poorly Steam does it. I feel like the Google App Store is very similar to that, and I think that there's going to be I think that they will push for quantity over quality as far as the games that they encourage.
Yeah, I would completely agree. My view on it is it's going to be something that is very open, like the Android store. But one thing that I think that they will do very well is integration in regards to the home entertainment center, if you will. It's what Xbox has really tried to nail down and say, hey, we are the device to have. You can have this device, and it does all your streaming. It has ridiculous amount of apps. It does though. It has so many apps on it. It's easy for developers to develop an app for it. Like we have Spectrum has an app on there. Like there's so many apps in regards to. I mean, yes, smart TVs have Hulu and Netflix. Sure, there are a lot of them that are not on. If you're not one of those big providers, you may not be on the smart TV's app store. But Xbox has a ton, so I think that Google, you're going to see even more of that. You're going to see more integration. Google Home also is a big deal, and I think you could see a lot of integration in regards to that. I mean, we're talking about if you have a console similar to an Xbox, with an online store similar to what we're seeing what Nintendo is doing right now, which I think is phenomenal in regards to indies. If you could see something that would have those type of indies, hopefully cultivated in one way or another, and integration with Google Home, has to have a 4K DVD player. I'm sorry, it has to have a 4K DVD player at this point. A regular DVD player would be okay either way, but to be able to stream, to be able to use the voice commands that Google's using on that would be amazing. Especially people who have an Android phone. You already have a built-in remote because you can just have, they can have an app that runs off that. I think it could be really game-changing in regards to the console market. But I agree with you though. The games need to be there. I'm not going to buy it. Okay. I may buy it when it comes out just because it's Google and it's probably going to be really good, but I need to know a lot about this to understand, is this something that's going to be worth it for the average person? Google does not need to go niche for this. They need to say, this is the thing. You can have an Xbox and PlayStation, whatever. You need to have this, and that's what they need to do. Yeah, the home of the future.
I'm also curious if they'll do something like when Microsoft came to the console market, they sold their first boxes at a considerable loss.
Yeah.
In order to get into the market, and I think that Google will probably do something like that because they have so many other sources of revenue that they can nurture this in its infancy.
I agree totally. Google should do it. If you're listening, because Google's always listening, need to sell it at a slight loss, get it into everybody's homes, and then they'll buy stuff via your app store. That's how it works.
Yes.
It's totally worth it.
Yeah. We did get a statement from Sean Layton on crossplay. There's been a lot more pressure as we've seen, like Minecraft on the Switch and the Xbox and with Fortnite, everybody's playing together. Switch, Xbox, phone, and PC. Everybody's playing except Sony.
Yes. And I'm so glad that we're getting this pressure on Sony.
Absolutely.
Because Sony. We give Nintendo a really hard time in regards to playing like they're in the 20th century.
Yeah.
But Sony is doing a lot of that as well. I mean, they're winning the console war, if you will. But when it comes to multiplayer gaming, it's just horrible that Sony's out on this island.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the comments on them, they were saying they were looking into it, right? They were.
He said that it's something that they think a lot about.
Yeah, that's what.
And it's basically what I'm saying is keep the pressure up.
Yep. Keep
tweeting at PlayStation, being like, "Hey, we want to play with them too."
Yeah, keep the.
I'm not pointing specifically at Patrick, but
keep the pressure on. Keep the narrative tight, because this is what we need to concentrate on, and then maybe we'll be able to change our names. It's so easy. Why not just do it?
Yeah. So speaking of things that are very easy, Halo TV show coming to Showtime. This has been something that's been like when the Xbox One launched, they had a bunch of shows and movies and things that they were going to do, and they just never materialized. But Showtime has gone ahead and set up the funding. Basically, all the things are aligned, and they're saying this show is coming in 2019. So,
and I'm really happy because there are a lot of intellectual properties that can translate to to a TV show, to film, what have you. Halo is one that I think can do pretty well. There's enough lore and backstory that you can retell these stories that have been told in the games, and it can work out really well. I also like that they're doing this as a TV show because first of all, you can stretch out the narrative a little bit more. You don't have to shoehorn in a bunch of exposition while people are trying to catch up people who are big fans of Halo. That's one thing that I think is a big drawback when it comes to movies. You have a movie like, for instance, let's say Tomb Raider. We all know who Lara Croft is, but when you have a Tomb Raider movie, they have to go, people don't know about Lara Croft. Let's spend 45 minutes telling you who she is.
Yeah. I think one of the other things is that they won't... Halo tends to give a good overarching story.
Yes.
But the moment to moment, a lot of times... they'll I mean, it's a video game. They have to have combat every 30 seconds. Like, you can only spend so long on cutscenes and things. And so I think the stories they'll be able to tell in the show will be much more complex. And I look forward to that.
Do you think that the stories that they're going to tell will be from a single perspective, very similar to something like an Uncharted, or do you think that they would branch out and do more like Gears of War, where it's about a squad? I think they're probably going to do something like that. Yeah,
because like Red Team, Blue Team, like and then like Locke's team versus. I mean, Master Chief is usually solo, but they've been doing a lot more focusing lately on squad-based stuff and like. I forget the name of the mode, but like the big massive firefight.
Yeah.
But they've been focusing in the story a lot on squads and groups of people, and so it makes sense for them to follow a particular squad or even multiple squads in a similar planetary battle.
I agree.
So you can go all the way out to the Outer Rim. Anyway, that's coming in 2019, and we don't know much more than that. But I'm excited about it, and I'm excited about them getting Showtime funding.
Yes.
Like Showtime is a channel. You know, they've got the deep pockets that you need to do sci-fi proper.
And everyone is going to try to find the next Game of Thrones.
Yes, everyone.
This is not going to be the next Game of Thrones, but it can be. But it's going to be really entertaining. I also find it funny that everyone's trying to buy up different George R.R. Martin properties, like his older books and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're like, there's got to be some gold here.
Okay. For those, if any of those people are watching / listening, Ice Dragon, Fever Dream, anime, live action movie.
Really?
Yeah. Fever Dream is an excellent story and a retelling of a particular horror trope, and I really enjoyed it.
Ooh.
I think you would too.
Yeah, vampires.
Yeah.
I do like that. So I was just googling it to be like, does anyone get it yet? But
speaking of management and logistics and some of the horrible things that happen, Amy Hennig has apparently not been used by EA since January. She left that office then, and she's working on starting her own independent studio. So her game got canceled, then she left the company. I don't know the details, but she left the company. Basically, Amy Hennig has been kept from doing anything that lasts for 2.5 years.
I don't understand.
I honestly don't either.
So I did look into this a little bit. I'm sure you did as well.
Yeah.
Apparently, the gist of what I understand of this is they felt that her direction was too linear.
Yeah.
You hired Amy Hennig. There's nothing wrong with linear games. I mean, Last of Us is an amazing game. Last of Us 2 looks incredible. I mentioned Uncharted. I love the Uncharted games. Sometimes I just want to have an adventure. Take me on a ride.
Yeah,
and that's fine.
She's been doing this and is well recognized as one of the best in the business.
Yeah.
As far as taking us on those one, emotional roller coasters,
yeah,
2 spectacle pieces. Like
yes.
you feel like this is such a big thing, and that's perfect for Star Wars. That universe is so vast.
There is so much to tell, and I feel the same way about Star Wars as I do about Friday the 13th, the movie, not the TV series, but the movie series, because what it is to be a Star Wars fan is to have watched the movies, and then you have this feeling about Star Wars and the world, and the things that you like are a piece from this movie, and a piece from this movie, and a piece from this movie. Usually all those are out of Empire Strikes Back, but there are other things that people enjoy, and they'll nitpick. They're like, I really like this and I like this.
Yeah.
And that's how Friday the 13th is, because like if you want to sit someone down and say, what Star Wars movie do I watch? You could argue about that, Empire or A New Hope. I think
if you're watching one, A New Hope, because that's a self-contained story.
It is a self-contained story. But then you have other people who are like, but then you're going to miss this and this and this. So you could sit someone down and watch the first Friday the 13th movie.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Voorhees isn't even in it.
Yep.
So it's like but at the same time, all the tropes except for I think that's in the first one as well. Like almost all the tropes are in the first one, except the killer is not Jason. He pops up like in a very brief moment. And then the second movie, he's in there, but doesn't have a hockey mask. The third movie, he gets the hockey mask. So you're like, do I watch the third movie? Well, the third movie's kind of trash because it's a 3D movie.
Let's get back to video games.
Okay, Friday the 13th video game now.
Friday the...
We already talked about that. Let's talk about BioWare.
So this is what happens when we record late. We get a lot more giggly.
And we haven't talked in a while. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was really difficult. But something that's really encouraging, BioWare is looking to make small experimental games, and I really like that idea because I love BioWare's storytelling, but honestly, the Iron Man simulator doesn't really do it for me. Anthem is not something that I intend to play because I don't do the whole online and shooty thing. I might try it, but it really doesn't seem to be my type of game, and so I like the idea of them putting their storytelling into small experimental things.
I agree. I will Redbox Anthem. I will Redbox this game.
Tell you what, when you do that, let me know, and I will also Redbox it.
Yeah, because I think that this game could be fun. I don't know if it's for me. I don't know if I have the time, because a lot of the multiplayer games, the other thing that people don't talk about this when they talk about multiplayer games.
Yeah.
I have to, and they actually, let me rephrase that. They actually mentioned it, called it out. It was very accurate in the Division 2 quasi gameplay bit. And they were talking, and one person's like, dude, you really need to level up. I don't know, like, and that's how it is whenever I play online games. I play MMOs or I play online games.
Yeah.
I if you don't play as much as somebody else, then you lag behind, and it's a whole keeping up with the Joneses thing. I don't like that. I want to play at my own leisure. I've got a lot of things going on. When I play the game, I want to enjoy it. And a game that is dependent on me playing regularly to keep up with my friends. So I hope that Anthem isn't like that. I hope that Anthem still, like, in some way scales so I can still have fun with people. So we will Redbox that and let you know. Unless there's a demo, a beta weekend, we'll hit that too.
I mean, BioWare does that frequently, so I can see that happening.
I would be okay with that. One thing that I don't know how to feel about, though, is AI playing video games.
Oh, I am stoked about this. This might be the first match I ever watch.
Oh, really? Well, I guess that was my other thing I was going to say is, who cares about Dota?
Yeah, I mean, millions of people, but I'm not one of them. Neither is he.
I'm not either. The Elon Musk's AI team has, and this is not the first time they've done this. They actually their AI last year beat the top Dota 2 competitor
in a one-on-one match.
In one-on-one, yeah. And so the interesting thing to me about this is they're bringing out a new AI. This is OpenAI 5, and named after it because it has 5 neural networks. Which plays
amazing.
The amazing thing to me is every day it is playing 180 years worth of matches against itself to learn, which in doing so it's learning the minute details and the nuances to be a better player.
And attempting new strategies, seeing if I do this now. And one of the really fascinating things about it to me was that it said that that the AI would frequently make short-term sacrifices for long-term benefits.
Yeah, and it's something that's really hard for people to understand the concept of. If you're just getting into that type of game, like Magic the Gathering, if you play any black, it's very much sacrificial because black magic is you sacrifice your life or other things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you may gain something really big, and it's learning what strategies work well against other strategies, so it can see what you're doing and then play accordingly. I don't know how to feel about this. I guess from a standpoint of look how amazing AI is, that's really cool. Fantastic.
It's also terrifying. I'm not going to deny that.
Terrifying. I will watch it to see how the AI does.
Yeah.
But and I like it from that standpoint. Now, if there was a future where 30, 40 years from now where you have a bunch of AIs playing games against each other, I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
Could not care less. I need that human element. Even the Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie, what was that called? Real Steel? Like, even that movie, they had to go, well, we should have someone playing with the robots. Because otherwise, if it's just robots fighting each other, I don't care. Yeah. That was bad.
A little bit.
You know what else is bad? Fortnite. Now Fortnite overall is not bad, but Fortnite has come out with a playground practice mode. Practice mode, which was out for about an hour.
Yep.
And then it's gone.
And it's gone.
Yep, and it's gone. And I'm using Ninja's footage over here because I'm sure everybody watches Ninja. One thing that I thought was really cool about Fortnite is this mode. It allows you to play for an hour before the game actually starts. before the actual match starts, so you can go build stuff, mess around, and have fun without having to deal with other people shooting you. I'm assuming that it works where they can't shoot you. Have you played Fortnite? I can't remember if you played Fortnite.
Yes, for about 20 minutes.
Okay, so like the very beginning, right when you're starting, you can like run around and you can't hurt each other. And I'm assuming, I haven't played because I can't play practice mode. I'm assuming you can't shoot each other, so it's just, hey, let's go build some stuff, let's go have fun. I think that's cool. I think that's really cool. Because that allows for that type of for practice. I'm glad that it still has some type of timer. I would like there to be some type of practice mode, practice sandbox mode, where you can jump in and just practice by yourself. I don't know if it's in the single player stuff because I haven't paid money for any of it, but I think it's cool that it's in there. I don't know what bugs are in there that caused them to pull it, but it's crazy that it's still not available. It's just nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts to me. It's completely nuts. Speaking of Fortnite, though, PUBG's dropped the lawsuit against Fortnite, which is great because it was crap.
Well, it was also going to be a severe test because the case would have been tried in South Korea, and number one, what's the name of basically the PUBG Corporation or whatever is actually based in South Korea. Yeah. Where Fortnite is an American team, and there was a lot of fear that this would set up a situation where there would be a lot of home field advantage for PUBG, and it might get passed, and then it would have to be enforced across.
Notifications everywhere at that point. Yeah.
And so that it was kind of scary, and I'm really glad that it got dropped.
Yeah, I'm glad that it got dropped. It's also, to me, it's not as clear. In my opinion, it's not as easy to understand and finger pointing as the Westworld simulation. It's very easy for you to go, that's Fallout Shelter.
Well, particularly with the bugs showing up, and I think you mentioned this on the show, the fact that the same bug showed up in Westworld as had been in an earlier version of Fallout Shelter. It's like, okay, clearly.
If there's one thing that Bethesda knows, it's bugs.
That is absolutely true.
I commend Bethesda. I know that their bugs are notorious, but I commend Bethesda for the scope that they bring into these games, and I love that they make fun of themselves. Yeah. They make fun of themselves. Todd Howard made fun of that in front of everybody at E3. I loved that. Apparently there are bugs in our games.
Yeah, it was fun, and like you said, they are consistently going in like wild directions, and the immersiveness of the worlds that they manage to create when they're working are pretty mind-blowing. Yeah, and I really appreciate the lengths to which they're trying to stretch.
I agree. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Speaking of things that I appreciate, though, this is just a brief update on some sales of some games that we really appreciated and are really happy to see succeed. Hellblade reached 1 million copies sold across PlayStation and Xbox. And I mean, Ninja Theory is now owned by Microsoft, so whatever they put out next will not be on PlayStation most likely. But I'm really glad that this really important game was picked up by so many.
Yeah, I'm so glad that like you said, more people are playing this, because this is proving that the games don't have to be either indie or AAA. There is a marketplace in between of varying styles, of varying ways of storytelling. And this is a very interesting game. If you haven't played it, I highly encourage you to check it out, because it's everywhere now. It is everywhere except for Switch.
Indeed. But what is on Switch is Hollow Knight, which sold 250,000 copies in the first 2 weeks it was on the store.
Not bad for a little title that could, right? I mean,
yeah. The other thing about this, and part of the reason that I'm actually mentioning this on the show is to recommend it. I'm about 2 or 3 hours into it, and I am having a wonderful time. The other thing, this game is only $15.
That's my next question. And $15, that's not bad. How many hours have you put into it?
I've put about 3. Apparently, it's like a 40 to 60 hour game at least.
Okay.
And we're getting free DLC whenever it gets released.
I was going to say I played. I already forgot the name of it. The Bloodstained. 2D
Bloodstained.
Castlevania clone thing. I played that, beat it, and that was $10. But I think I put in 2 or 3 hours on it. But it was really fun, and there's a lot more that I can do. Like, that was me playing on the easy mode. So
the really fun thing that they managed to do in this, and from what I'm hearing seems to be something that they're doing in Mega Man 11, is kind of a one-to-one conversion of the feel of the game that we know. And somebody was saying that it's really, really wonderful to sit down and feel familiarity with a game you've never played.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing, and that's what helps these kind of games. If it's a new game, you need something to hook you, and concepts are great to hook you, but you need the gameplay to be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You really do. That's what games are about. Speaking of gameplay and the games and being concise, Nintendo is talking about a possible successor to the 3DS.
Yep,
they have.
That's
one.
a thing.
They have one.
Yes. However, I actually came up with a counter argument because Patrick and I feel the same on this. It's like, no, Switch, you nailed it. Stay here with us, Nintendo.
Digital cartridge, it's home, it's portable, it's everything.
Yeah,
so counter argument.
Really is fantastic.
Devil's advocate.
Sorry, go ahead.
So you're playing devil's advocate here, trying to have a counter argument.
Playing devil's advocate. One of the things that has been really impressive about Nintendo over the last 30 years is the way that they have managed to innovate with the console hardware itself. Like, they've been able to come up with ideas like motion control and like this, what we now recognize, just being able to move the controller in different directions and have that do different things.
Sure.
Nintendo is a fantastic innovator in the field of consoles themselves. And whatever the next PlayStation is, whatever the next Xbox is, it will be basically the same box with the same thing, but faster. And so I like the idea of Nintendo having multiple areas to experiment with so that they can stay healthy at the same time as they can make substantial pushes into experimental territory.
I can completely see your point on that, and I do agree that Nintendo's innovation, and I love that Reggie will bring this up to people when they talk about people talking about Nintendo not being a big player. Nintendo started Rumble. Nintendo started so many things that are
shoulder
buttons,
analog.
There's so many things. Like, every single time Nintendo tries to innovate, and people are like, oh, motion controls, that doesn't really, and then but the ideas that they used with like Wii Motion Plus were then used in others. There's like a huge list of things that Nintendo's innovated. Like you said, PlayStation's gone, let's make it faster. I do agree. But if I were Nintendo, in regards to innovating, do you think the handheld market's really the place to innovate, though? I mean, I would think that I would completely agree with you if the news was Nintendo is looking for a Wii U successor that will compete with Wii or Wii U successor that will that will be more on the lines of a PS4. I would completely agree with you on that, because then I could say, oh, what is Nintendo going to do with a home console with that power? Are they going to bring in some type of motion? Are we going to have some type of what are the is it Oculus, the really interesting controllers that has the thing? It has like an analog stick here and has like a hoop. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I think that's the Vive, actually. The
Vive. Okay. So the Vive, like, there's all these things. Like, is Nintendo looking at something like? Could they be looking at that aspect of it, or is Nintendo wanting to innovate with this, or are they just trying to get money? Because Alex mentioned on Facebook, he was like, well, can we just get a handheld version of Switch? And I was like, well, that's the Switch. You just don't need the dock. Right. Because the dock does nothing. The dock just HDMI outs the signal, and it charges. It's a good place to have, as charging ports and everything.
Yeah.
But for $250, that's still a little pricey for a handheld. I feel like that Nintendo's not trying to innovate here. I think they're trying to hit the niche market of, you know, the 5 to 12-year-olds, where parents need to buy them something. Do you want to buy all your kids a $300 Switch?
Yeah.
No. Do you want to buy them a $150 whatever? Sure.
Yeah.
And prediction, if they do this, a lot of the digital games will work on both. Oh,
I can see that.
Let me rephrase that. You won't be able to buy them on both. You'll be able to buy them here and then buy them here, but it will not tie to your account, because it's a very Nintendo thing to do. Where they'll where Sony would be like, oh, we got that on PS4 and Vita. Oh, you get them both now. Nintendo would be completely different, but you would have a lot of the same games on the other one. So like a toned down Switch is what I would imagine it would be. Toned down Switch, smaller, most of the games still play on it. That's my prediction, if that's what they're going to do.
I do have a counter to my own counter argument, though.
Ooh, counter to counters, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that Nintendo has consistently done, and you can see this in their strategy as they've gone through various iterations, they talked regularly about the 3 pillars of their financial stability. They said they wanted to do home hardware, portable hardware, and software.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel that because they've combined home and portable into a single wonderful system, I think that their third tier of income where they're able to do things is the mobile market. They have managed to get in there and make some quality games. They're still figuring out microtransactions and how to best occupy the space.
Sure.
But that is an area in which they're going, and honestly, I feel like those 3 things give them the financial stability to, like I said, experiment with different kinds of console things.
Yeah, and microtransactions, as much as we hate them, microtransactions make so much money. I heard an interesting statistic, and I can't remember which game it was. It was one of the Call of Duties or something. I don't remember. It was some Activision. I'm pretty sure it was Call of Duty.
Okay.
But they were saying like their microtransactions made more money than every other game combined for the sales of every game combined for the past like 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, so you could take all of the games that everyone else made for the past 10 or 15 years, maybe even longer than that, and it still doesn't amount to just the microtransactions off one of those games.
Yeah. Another one was EA. In their findings report, they were talking about the FIFA in particular, and they said that their income from microtransactions was 4 times the amount that they got from game sales themselves.
You know, the average of people who who have spent money on Fortnite, the average amount that people have spent is $80.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not in that category.
No.
I'm in that. I didn't give you anything.
Yeah. So, extra long episode for you this week. I'm really happy to be back. I'm glad to be back with Patrick and back with you guys. So let us know if there's anything that we missed down in the comments below, and let us know what you think about Google's Yeti, because there's so much nebulous there. It's really difficult to tell what the future holds with that system.
And if someone will, is it something they will roll out quickly, or is it something that will just be completely nebulous and stay nebulous? Will it be vapor hardware? Is there a term for that?
Yes, I believe it's Sega. And that's all we have for this week. See you next time.